Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we kept going with the Void Crusade. Got to here, I think we knocked out these three. And now we will continue going this way for right now. We'll hit, please, this one, and then we have to go back up to here. Which will actually put this at +5 difficulty for some of the later missions. Not the greatest, but it's acceptable.
Tactical noospheric network online. Target has been barricaded behind a security door to avoid immediate extermination by hostiles. The door will be breached within a few Terran minutes. Violent intervention required to retrieve the subject alive.
So, I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and we were talking about just like miniatures and all that stuff, because we're both dorks and are into it. And he had never actually looked into 40K much. So we were looking online, I was showing him a bunch of stuff, and he ended up stumbling upon the adeptus sororitas. And he was like, "Oh, what are these guys?" And I told him, "Oh, they're the Sisters of Battle," and I said the easy way to describe them is nuns with guns. Instantly he's like, "Oh, that's so cool," and was super excited, and I was telling him about the vehicles and all of that. So I instantly got him interested in the sororitas, which is pretty great. And we were talking about that, and what he said is true. The one thing that sucks is the time it would take to paint all of them. Even though the miniatures are expensive, at least if they were painted, it'd be a lot more reasonable. And it was just fun being able to kind of share that stuff, because he didn't know a lot about it. And we were talking about, because he played X-Wing. He played first edition X-Wing. And we were talking about that, and he had said, I want to play it, but one, there aren't really anybody to play with. The community is really small and really competitive. And two, the other big problem is second edition came out. And if he wanted to use his miniatures, he would have to re-buy a bunch of stuff. And part of the problem was he owned duplicates of some of the miniatures and the cards for them, because you can get like a second edition update set. The second edition update set only includes like one set of everything.
Spectral scanning revealed info fragments of high importance in close proximity.
And we were talking about that, and I had said, yeah, that's honestly really stupid. It should have just been a system where you buy just a full-on set, or you go online and it's like, hey, order the cards you need.
The subject is insufficiently augmented to survive a violent interaction. I advise haste. The subject is now in inquisitorial custody. Relocate to the extraction zone.
But we had said, like, it'd be cool to do, like, you just order what you need, because that's a more reasonable system. Because otherwise, just the kind of scum and villainy set was like, I think $60. And he goes, they didn't have a lot of ships for that. And we were looking, because there was a bunch of ships that had like weird scale. And if 40K seems convoluted in some of their stuff, X-Wing is way more. Because you have X-Wing, you have Armada, you have like a step between. Because some of the ships, like, you could find a small version of the Millennium Falcon for normal X-Wing, but then you'd find this really big version, and that's for a separate thing. And we're going back and forth, and I'm saying, what is this? This is so confusing to figure out what is what. And we found out there's like scenario packs. And I said, I actually would have got into X-Wing had they released stuff like that, so you could do a proper PvE experience with them. Because I think that's a key thing in any miniatures game, is introducing a co-op mode. Because some people aren't competitive. Some people just like them because they like the franchise, or they think they look cool. I don't want to do tournaments for 40k. I've seen enough rule sharks and min-maxy tryhards. I dealt with that in my days playing Yu-Gi-Oh! You see one dude run an Exodia library deck, you've seen them all. And every time, you just want to reach over the table and strangle them. Because it's never fun. You can sit there and congratulate them, hey, kudos, you figured out how to make the cheesiest deck that lets you spend 45 minutes on your first turn. But it's not fun. And you can get people like that in 40k who... they rule shark and rule lawyer everything, and they just get real annoying. But I just want to have fun. I want to grab miniatures, go over to a friend's house, and sit there and be like, yeah, let's just, you know, have some drinks, play a game, and just have fun. That's what I'm interested in, it's just fun with people. I deal with enough sweaty tryhards in every game, really. I don't need to go to my local hobby shop and suffer through it in person. Man, I'm just remembering the time last time I tried to do one of these panic rooms, and the guy I had to rescue died almost instantly. Times sure have changed. Who knows, maybe I'll cave and buy some more X-Wing miniatures. Look more into it. The peer pressure will get me. And a friend of mine, he had said, too, if only... we were talking about just random stuff while driving. And he said, yeah, I always dream of winning the lottery just so I can sit around and play board games and have fun all day. I said, yeah. Or if you could at least kind of leverage that into a job. If I could stream just playing like X-Wing or playing 40k, if there was a good scenario set up where you just do PvE, I'd do that all the time. I would do streams of me painting miniatures if there was enough viewership. I may not be good at it, I paint like a 5-year-old, but I'm sure willing to give it a try and improve. It's just, you know, you gotta have the time of day to do it. Okay, good. I panicked for a second because I was like, did I go up or down? Because if I went up, that's a +1, and then this would be a +1, so this mission and this mission would be even harder. I got real scared. Huh. My map does not include... Oh no, it does include it. Yeah, because I'd go this one, this one, this one, then I go down here and do this, and then this. Okay. Oh, I actually have to grind loot. Oh, speaking of what I had said before about Darktide, I wish there was loot system like this. Grind stuff up, make new stuff. Even Destiny, that would have improved the game, but they're like, no, we gotta make it convoluted. Man, I don't get what's with developers and having to make their systems just the most agonizing to put up with. It's like, you don't understand. You have to suffer. No, I don't. I'd rather not.
Electrospectral scanning revealed multiple enemy assets of the highest importance. Locate and destroy them. May the Omnisar guide your hand.
Oh, and another thing when I was showing my friend the 40K stuff, he had said like, oh, do you, because it was one of like the smaller sets, he goes, oh, is this all you need to play? I said, realistically, you need to get like a start collecting box, and then probably like a combat patrol, or you might be able to work with just a combat patrol. I said, it depends on the point values and everything like that, and if you're going for a 2,000 point army, or an 800 point army, or anything in between. And I said, it also depends on the army. AdMech are more expensive than, say, Space Marines or Orcs. And we were talking about that. And he goes, so what all can you do? Is there above like a 2,000 point limit? I said, there's Apocalypse, which is throw everything onto the table. Doesn't matter the faction. And he's like, so could someone with like a 4,000 point army go against a 2,000 in an Apocalypse? I said, yeah, it's literally just use whatever. And I had said to him, you'll see people pull out a $2,000 Titan. And he just stopped and looked at me shocked. He's like, there's $2,000 miniatures? I said, the thing is the size of a toddler. It's still expensive, but it's a little more justified when you realize some of these Titans are enormous. I don't blame him for being shocked. When I first found out their miniatures worth that much, I lost it. Oh, we also saw a D&D miniature. We hadn't looked at D&D miniatures in years, because we've used like Roll20 and stuff, and for a while, like, Wizards really didn't care about the miniature side of things. And apparently a bunch of new stuff came out. There's a Starjammer Astral Behemoth that was huge, and then at some point Wizards was like, yo, we should make a Tarrasque miniature. And by miniature, it was like almost $500, and it was the size of my friend's cat. Actually, it's probably bigger than his cat, if we're being real. He's got a decent sized cat, but the thing was enormous. And we're just sitting here looking at it. I said, imagine if you're DMing and the people you're playing with just piss you off. You just sit there. That's it. You lift this behemoth up and just slam it on the table. Because I used to always threaten to drop a dragon on someone, or there's always the joke of just suddenly dropping a Tarrasque on them. But actually pulling out a Tarrasque mini and just plopping that bad boy down. There's a difference between describing it to someone while playing and having the visual representation of your character just dwarfed by this enormous monster. They also had a bunch of dragons and stuff, and it just makes me really sad, because when I was younger, there was a card shop kinda close to me, not really. It was a decent bit away, but it was the closest actual card shop, as opposed to like... Actually, I don't know. There's one close-ish. There's nothing close. There's just things in the area where it's like, okay, if I want to go somewhere, I can make a trip. But it's not like, oh, I'm just gonna hop in the car for 5 minutes and be there. Everything's a decent distance. But the one place near me isn't that great. The other place... And it was a good... okay, it wasn't great. The place really hustled people. But they had a ton of stuff. And when they were closing, I was young, so I had, like, no money. I literally had no money at what my age was at the time. But they had a gargantuan red dragon miniature. And I wish I had gotten it, because they were selling it for, like, $40. And I looked a few years ago, because I was like, I want to see if I can find that again. You know, I want that miniature. It looked cool. It had a detachable flame cone, which admittedly it was like aiming down, so it wasn't that good for actual measurement. It was more or less targeting a 3x3 square, which wasn't terrible, but doesn't really fit the normal rule set. But so I looked it up, and I find it on eBay. I'm like, oh, cool, I can find them on eBay. $500. I was like, damn. I mean, I would, if I had it, I wouldn't have sold it. Because that's how I am with trading cards. I've got stuff that's probably worth some money, and I just refuse to sell them because, you know, they're mine. I remember being excited getting, like, my first relinquished card. I remember it because I got it for Christmas. I had gotten the starter deck Pegasus. I was like, oh, cool. You know, I have the deck version, the starter deck version of Relinquished. And my parents had gotten me a couple booster packs as stocking stuffers. And I opened one up, and inside was the normal booster pack Relinquished. My excitement was not reduced at all by already having the starter deck version. I was just as excited because I understood how rare it was. And it wasn't like, oh, I can sell this. It was just like, so cool. I got the booster pack version. And that's how I am with all my stuff. Yeah, I could sell it, maybe make some money. But it's got memories, you know? There's sentimental value. I get some people look at that or like Legos as investments, which I get. You know, you can actually invest a decent amount when it comes to some action figures, and you can potentially make good money, but it's all supply demand, and in my case you hope that Disney doesn't screw up the thing that you invested in, which for me was a Star Wars action figure. I had an Utapau Shadow Trooper from Target, unopened, in the package, in the bigger plastic package that they were originally stored in. Limited edition. I know it's Target exclusive, so it's not like there's only a couple. But the second I got it, I was like, I'm gonna save this for later. This might be worth money. And Disney has done Disney things, and Star Wars, the value of like anything Star Wars isn't as good as it used to be, I think. Which is a shame. I don't even think I would sell it, honestly. Once again, it's just sentimental value for everything. Please, let me just nuke all these. I was about to complain about the credits, but then I remembered for one level upgrade on that inoculator, I spent 4 million credits, so I can't complain. I have to kind of shut up and be like, hey, I'm slowly recouping my losses. Ever so slowly. I'll eventually come out of the giant dead hole I've made for myself because I'm stupid. Ah, man, I regret putting... Okay, so let me explain this, because there's logic behind this. When I upgrade the level of the item, I thought, oh, okay, there's like 5 times you can do this per item. Okay, cool. So I sat there, did it, and I noticed some of my stats on the item actually went up by a point. So instantly I thought, oh cool, I can actually kind of get some freebie boosts without having to... I forgot to destroy the thing in here. Without having to kind of go hog wild and keep rolling stuff. The stuff I have... The upgrades were decent. So I thought, okay, I'll take a couple points, especially some of these... Actually... buttons. A lot of these, the reflect damage, reflect chance, resilience. The resilience is maxed. It's only 2 to 3. The max HPs and the high end, all of them are near the high end, like near the max, near the peak. So I don't really want to, keep re-rolling them for maybe a point, 2 points. It's not worth it. I'd be pouring so much into each roll, not to mention having to pay to actually have the capacity to do the rolls. So I thought, whatever. couple free points are free points. And then I did it a couple times, didn't realize how much I was spending until I looked again and thought, oh god, I spent way too much boosting this. And stopped myself because I watched myself suddenly go from 12 million to 8 million. And was like, oh hell no. Unless I really want to sit down, run low-end missions, and just dump every credit booster, tarot card, and every high-end overall reward, like percentage booster, and hope for the best. Which I might have to do. But I don't even really have to worry anyways, because this is because this guy's no longer a seasonal character, this is all my shared stuff. So I can just run literally any character I want and farm up my money again. Okay, so it's not terrible. Annoying, but not terrible. Who knows, maybe I'll go crazy and boost my Crusader a bunch. I haven't done a, YouTube Crusader yet. Might nuke my old seasonal Crusader who I started and then just gave up on. Which is fine, he didn't really have anything of value in the first place. But once the next season drops, I'll probably run a Tech Adept. Haven't sat down and played one of them in a long time. Only thing that sucks is their gear variety is just abysmal. I've said it before, it's quite literally 2 guns with a variant of each gun. I think 2 melee weapons with a variant of each, and that's all. It is not very impressive in the slightest. Gotta go check over here. I don't think this mission has any... Because this is, I think, the 12th mission, which shouldn't have any not like modifiers, but like things to pick up. Yeah, because this is the blank one. Okay, yeah, so this one's fine. Yeah, because we just have... Please, this one. Oh, bonus mission. I was like, what's the cross swords? Actually, what is that? Oh, Wandering Servo Skull. Oh, neat. I didn't realize it just flat out told me. That's literally the only one with a Wandering Servo Skull. Dude, where are my keys? Whack. Alright, let's throw down against Tyranids. This should be... Yeah, siege. Oh, it's a siege. This should be easy then.
Oh, the sweet stench of imminent death. The craving for bloodshed before the battle. I wish I could be there with my battle brothers. Take the enemy head on. Lay waste to their strongholds and show no mercy.
Yeah, this fight is gonna be like 0 brain activity. That's why I love sieges. I can just sit here without even thinking and just flatten guys left and right. Man, seeing 65 credits kinda hurts, though. Game's like, oh, here's the money you earned. 65 credits. Cool. Only, 3,999,935 more to go. At this rate, I'll get my money back in no time.
Deny the spent flesh and aching wounds. Onwards to victory.
There's a terminal somewhere in this map that we gotta find. Oh yeah, I just remembered. 9th edition for tabletop's coming to a close. Just kind of remembered I saw an article kind of going over the best and worst of 9th edition. And one of the big complaints was, instead of having universal, like, standard rules, a bunch of stuff was, like, teleport. Almost every faction had some... Literally, it was teleport, but they all had some stupidly named version that's not at all different from each other. It's just flavor, effectively.
With all defenders slain,
And people asking, why do we have 6 different names for the same thing? Why don't we just call it what it is and have more universal rules to simplify things? Which I'm all for. Simplifying anything makes everything easier. Never in my life am I sitting here going, yes, more convoluted systems. And I love, like, complex systems. That's something... That's definitely something I think that struggles... Or that's a struggle in game design, is people figuring out the difference between complex and convoluted. Because there are some convoluted systems in games, and they don't really need to be. I always use as a prime example in Call of Duty.
Info fragments of high importance in close proximity.
There's the terminal. But
and butchered without mercy.
come on, Caius, shut up.
To the wire. The strong point is ours. Move on.
But in Call of Duty, in Black Ops, oh my god, Omicron, shut up, 2. Yes, Black Ops 1, they had the ability where you just get money from matches and you could buy any attachment. You could buy any gun. I think that's a brilliant system for shooters. This way people who want to unlock everything for a weapon can instantly do it, because giving each weapon levels that you have to grind through, it's player retention, yes, but it's, in my eyes, bad retention, because it's unnecessary grind. It's not like a camo grind. Camo grinds make sense. They're typically a series of challenges, or in games like Darktide, camos and cosmetics are an extra money sink when you have tons of money and nothing to buy because you already have good gear. Even Mag did that back in the day. Camos were just extra things to blow cash on. If you already had all your weapons geared out, which they had done the same thing with, you just buy attachments. There was, I believe, level gates to weapons, but honestly, that game was way ahead of its time, and it was fun. Even PlanetSide does that, where they're just going, yeah, just spend the certs to get a weapon if you want it, spend the certs on attachments. There's no, oh, you gotta be character level 60 for this. Because we've all played those games where they sit there and say, oh, you need to be this level. You get the weapon, you're like, oh, this is gonna be good, right? Second you use it, you're like, oh, it's awful. and you're just instantly disappointed because you realize you got hustled. Or the weapon might be good, but it's not your playstyle. I've had that way too many times where a weapon's supposed to be good, but it just doesn't click with me. So I'm just sitting there going, oh cool, back to the weapon I was already using. Yeah, I don't like that I'm getting all the data fragments, but no keys. I should get some eventually, but I like seeing keys so that I feel a sense of security in knowing, oh, okay, I can get a decent amount of loot out of this. And that is the entire run. Cool. Hey, that end loot bonus though, 265, that's gonna be real nasty. What's this look like? Okay, it's doable. It's gonna suck, but it's doable. Only one I'm actually kind of scared of is this game, please. This one, because we're gonna have to do this, which is gonna put 2 on it. So we're gonna be looking at even more difficulty. The rest of this, easy peasy. Just that one. Because we're not going to be doing this one. We're not going to be doing this Supreme mission. Because just right here, +3 to get to it. Or +2, realistically. But that's only going to make it tougher compared to like this one. Wow, look at all that stuff to destroy. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.